just a hack. It's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, two former college football players from the University of Rhode Island, talking college football. Today we have our final conference preview. We started with the top FCS programs, or conferences rather, and we've moved all the way to the SEC, biggest conference in all of sports. We're going to be breaking it down, expectations for 2023. Sean, how are we doing today?
It was a great weekend for me, making other people's accomplishments all about myself and just pushing it on them. Young Thug dropped an album, so I made it everybody else's problem. And look at Joe. He could tell. He knows what I do. And I hate that I do it, but it was my Super Bowl this week. It was my Super Bowl on Thursday night.
See, I got serious question. When you're in jail like that, how far out do you think you need to have recorded those songs? In all seriousness, because there's a lot of artists who are dead, or Kodak's one of them who was in jail for a little bit. Bobby Shmurda was one of those guys who was in jail for a little bit.
Sure.
How far out do you have to record those to then be able to put those songs out?
I think there's hundreds upon thousands of songs that these guys have, or these artists have.
Okay.
Where he said, and it was even hyperbolic, I believe, but he said that Young Thug said that him and Lil Uzi had like 600 songs together. We're doing 60 songs a day or something like that, which isn't true. It can't be true. But there are.
I'm sure there's probably two good songs in there.
Yes,
but
yes.
I know
So you throw a lot at the wall and some's gonna stick. I thought the album stuck. But another big part is having people that are able to protect the library of files properly. So you could just hold on to it. It's almost like a Toy Story 2. You have someone that can save the movie just in case. Just in case everything gets deleted, here's a person that could save the movie. Just in case our guy goes to jail for racketeering and basically being a mob boss, we have something that we can put out there. And I don't know. I thought it's just, and I'm such a loser fanboy that I don't know if I grade it unbiasedly. I think it's very good though.
Yeah. Your comment on the fact that they're just extra songs laying around, some of them, they definitely were scraping the bottom of the barrel. I got to be honest. Some of the songs
I'm aware
were of his worst songs. They were probably some of his worst songs that I've listened to.
Like?
It's one I listened to the album, I think like 4 times through.
Oh,
because you sit in so much traffic, Sean. On the weekend,
gotcha.
I probably was in the car for 3 hours this weekend, driving just Friday and Saturday to go golfing, to go to dinner on Friday.
How'd you golf?
I played one of the hardest courses in LA, which we found out as soon as we started.
Sure.
The people we were golfing with were like, "Oh, this is probably the hardest course you're going to play in LA." It kicked my ass, but it was good practice. I had a couple really good drives, which I hadn't been hitting the ball that well leading up to this. So, but to that point, there were a couple songs that I just completely blipped off the radar that I'm not even going to remember. But Jonesboro and is it Hoodie is that one song that I like?
Hoodie is right after it. Went through it. I love. Oh, you went with Drake. I actually like Abracadabra. People don't like.
Wait. Can I like the Abracadabra? I'm never not really the biggest fan of the whole, collect call. Let's get his voice on the I don't know if I like that. I feel like it's always really forced when they do that.
Some people are making some interesting artistic decisions that I am not. Sometimes I don't think adds to the album. I think
it just transitioned weird.
I think a couple songs early on the album were definitely just laying around. I think Gucci Grocery Bag was laying around.
Yes, that one was terrible. That one was not a good song.
I think Money on the Dresser was just laying around. But for the most part, I'm telling you, I don't know if I've actually been genuinely happy in a couple months, because when I got this music, dude, no, I just catch myself smiling, and I'm like, when am I doing that? I'll laugh. I'm a pretty easy laugh. but I'm sitting there
Relax.
smiling like a
Relax.
doofus.
You're acting like you're working at the McDonald's drive-through and you're having a tough time.
I understand. I understand.
You live with 4 of your best friends and you have a good job talking about sports
I
and
know.
producing sports.
I gotcha.
If I ever hear the words I wasn't happy for a few
I've
months
just
and I
been
had nothing to smile
experiencing
about,
happiness.
I am gonna get on a plane and just and smack you around. Like that
Look at
is
this.
the most
I can't be happy.
ridiculous.
I can't be happy on the show, and Joe can't let me be happy. I hate
No.
golf. I golf. I think I like it, and I hate it because I stink. Bowling. I don't have the house high score anymore, and that stinks. I'm switching up my whole throw there.
You value
Cornhole.
the
My
wrong things.
cornhole crew is way too far out now. They're
You value the wrong things.
No, I don't.
Before we continue on with this video, I just want to tell you folks about an exciting new partnership that we have with this channel with Underdog Fantasy. Ever since I joined, I've been having so much fun. There are so many different exciting games that make watching games during the offseason more exciting. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but it has made it way more entertaining since I found Underdog Fantasy. And my favorite game to play so far, which I think you should try out, is Pick'em. It is so easy to play. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your Pick'em slip, get every pick right, and take home some cold hard cash. Use code HACK, H-A-C-K, HACK, like the name of this channel. Use code HACK to get your first deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. Go sign up. You won't regret it. You're going to have a blast. Check out Underdog Fantasy. I also want to tell you folks about our other recurring sponsor that we have on this channel, that being BetOnline, betonline.ag, which has all the updated odds, news, and anything for sports betting. It's my go-to source for when I want to be betting specifically on games. I love betting on college basketball or the NBA, especially, again, during the offseason. Always looking for more fun ways to be focused in on some of these other sports. It's betonline.ag and use promo code BELIEVE50. It's promo code BELIEVE50 to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Wait, Sean, by the way, before I'm going to transition us in a second to the SEC preview. The Big Ten preview popped off. We got a lot of viewership. I loved the one comment. I don't know if it's still there or not, but the one comment I loved was it was something along the lines of if I wanted to watch two people ramble for 10 minutes, I would have turned on The View.
Oh, sure.
Is that what we should call this show? The View of
the
college
View
football?
2.0.
The View of college football. All right, Sean, let's talk about the SEC, though. The SEC in 2023 is going to have a completely new look for the main reason that the two better teams over the past few years have new quarterbacks. They're also going to have new defensive stars. Georgia is without Stetson Bennett. They're without Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and so many other talented defensive players that are going to be gone. Alabama loses Bryce Young, a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and there is a complete and total reset on what they're going to be doing on the offensive side of the football. That does not mean that they will be contending, but this is also an opportunity for up-and-coming programs, particularly LSU, to step in and do some damage. Sean, I want to start us off by talking about Georgia here. As I said, Stetson is gone. But they're a team that is going to refuel and retool like nobody else has done in the history of college football. They will have no problems getting ready for this upcoming season. Georgia fans don't like me for whatever reason, but I am not going to let that impact my thoughts on this team. This team legitimately has a shot to go for 3 in a row. They legitimately have a shot. They have athletes all over the defensive side of the football, with Michael Williams being, I think, the best player that they have. Brock Bowers is such a dangerous football player. He might be one of the best in the country just in general and is not talked about in that light enough. And then I'm a very big fan of Amarius Mims, who's going to be taking over that left tackle spot, who is just so freaking talented and barely played last year, and the ceiling is so high for him. So this is a blue chip roster. Unlike any that we've seen before in college football, the turnover is going to be just crazy to watch.
Yeah, they are not going to face much challenge on the field. Pick your strongest 3 here between South Carolina, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Florida. Maybe Auburn. Yeah, okay, they're going undefeated.
Tennessee's like their hardest game.
They're going to go undefeated, and then they're going to play the real games in the playoff. That's what's going to happen with Georgia. If they can keep their team rostered and their stars on the team without suspensions or driving incidents or racing or tickets or whatever else, if we can keep the players on the field, they will go undefeated and they will go 3 in a row. They will. Alabama is weaker than they've been. LSU, I'm actively rooting against because of one certain individual. And then, but Georgia, who else? Is somebody going to make the big climb? No, they're not. It's Georgia. Georgia, cupcake schedule. They got a cupcake schedule this year. And thank God we're getting some schedule realignment where we're going to get to see some of Georgia playing better teams and not this cupcake madness, because we can say Tennessee was really good last year. Okay. They beat Tennessee pretty good last year. They really did. They could have hung 40 on them. It was raining. They didn't. Doesn't matter. Georgia is set up for success. They're recruiting their asses off, and Kirby Smart is in the prime of his coaching career. He is locked in. Keep your athletes on the field, please.
Yeah, right now, this is the top dog to beat. This is who everybody is going after. You have to show up. What are you drinking, by the way? Is that a milkshake? I got so distracted.
I'm sorry. It's just
what
a water. Just water.
Get a normal cup.
Why am I getting yelled at?
Sean, Georgia.
Hey, you asked me if it was a milkshake, fatty. Don't worry about it. I do a lot of fat things. Drinking a milkshake in my room during the show is not one of them.
I was interested, kind of want to talk about Five Guy milkshakes for a quick second. But
milkshake is the worst broadcasting etiquette. You might as well be eating honey, because you just... Yeah, and then here we go. It's Georgia going to...
I'd put up for it. I'd put up with it. I absolutely would put up with it. The question mark that always rises when you have new quarterbacks is, do we trust the guy who takes over? Yeah, I can pivot real quick, dude. I can do it. I can completely make a left turn. This is how pros do it, dipshit.
Nice. Go ahead.
Their quarterback situation, Carson Beck has the talent, but I feel like we just haven't seen him enough to know what this team looks like with him at the helm. Stetson Bennett, as much as I have bashed him on this channel, on other programs,
was elite.
He did a lot for them. He was a big reason for their success. So Carson Beck, it's like, does the rest of the roster, is it good enough? Can they run the football effectively enough where he doesn't have to do the Stetson Bennett things where he makes clutch plays when they ask him to, when they call on him to? I don't know what he's like. This could be a Drake May type guy, though. Like, this could be a guy a highly recruited kid who could just step on the field and completely blow up. But at the same time, he could also be, just good enough to keep this team afloat. And I think that's really all you need from the quarterback position if you're Georgia. You don't need elite level play because the rest of the roster is so freaking good.
Yeah, that you're correct. You had elite level play with Stetson Bennett. You had a guy that could do it all, and I was a big fan of personally. So he was stellar at times. He was underwhelming at times. And that's fine for Georgia because they are maxing out in a team sport. Every position. Go ahead. Find me a player that's better on a different team, and then show me the depth being better on another team. Georgia has it. They're playing team football. They're playing, what was it, 2002 Ravens football, where Trent Dilfer was the quarterback for the Super Bowl, and you're just good enough. You're playing 2013 Ravens football, where you have dumb Joe Flacco throwing it up to whoever, and you have a great defense, great running attack, and a great offensive line, good skill position players. So they're playing team football. They're not playing, we need this one guy to lead us to the promised land. And it's impressive to see.
Over-under win total is set at 11.5, which is... Sean, here's the thing. 11.5. Yes, in theory, looking at the schedule, they can go undefeated. Absolutely, they can go undefeated. But no, I am not taking that bet. That is requesting that they go perfect in the regular season.
They will. I'm
not taking that bet. I'm not taking that bet. That is just a bad bet. That is a terrible bet.
Who beats them? Who catches them? You think?
Okay. You think? I don't think anyone. Wait. I don't think anyone will. But I am not that stupid of a bettor to say, oh, I'm going to take the 11.5. That is just too much to
It's a
ask for.
great bet.
Because how many times have we sat here, or not us specifically, but has anyone sat here and said, this team's going to go undefeated this year, and then they lose a game that they're not supposed to because something just goes horribly, horribly wrong?
Maybe if Hugh Freeze really mixes it up at Auburn, sure. But he won't. He's not going to catch them just slipping around. Josh Heupel is not he's a good coach. He's not a better coach than Kirby Smart. So they're going undefeated. That's a lock. I'm taking the over.
I'm not doing it. I'm not falling for it.
I don't need you to. I'm not trying to bait you. I'm trying to make you money.
Sean, last year Tennessee caught lightning in a bottle. Hendon Hooker was on a Heisman track until he suffered a significant injury in South Carolina, and then everything kind of fell apart in those final weeks of the season. But they did finish strong. Joe Milton looked pretty good in their bowl game, and there is some signs of optimism. They do lose their two best receivers in Jalen Hyatt and also Cedric Tillman. Darnell Wright is also gone, who was a very highly drafted pick in the 2023 NFL draft.
Yeah.
This all, and like everyone's going to notice a very common trend here with three of the teams we're talking about. This all hinges on the quarterback position because, like, I'm confident in Josh Heupel to get the run game going because they did a good job last year.
I agree.
I'm confident in Heupel finding receivers that are going to put up some big stats that he knows how to properly orient in his offense. And like Brew McCoy is like a pretty good player and he looked good as that tertiary option. Maybe he takes a step forward as a former big time recruit, was at multiple places before he ended up at Tennessee. But Joe Milton, man, is just so hit or miss. You hear so many people saying that Joe Milton's going to be a Heisman winner this year. Watch Joe Milton make this crazy throw. There is a new big throw that Joe Milton makes. All of that is nice, but that does not always translate to good decision-making and good plays. The example that I like to bring up, Sean, is do you remember I think it was our sophomore year or our freshman year? Was it Anthony Vazzano who was that his name that we had the one
Jordan
guy on
Vazzano.
our team? Jordan Vazzano. He had a huge arm.
Rocket arm.
Could not take any touch off the football. And because he couldn't take touch off the football, the balls were all over the place. Passes were errant. Guys couldn't catch the ball because he was throwing it so hard at them. I'm not saying that Joe Milton is that, but I get so scared about these guys that can't bring the big arm talent to the field. If he's gotten beaten out multiple times at multiple schools, why is he suddenly going to just figure it out now?
Maybe he's got to finally coach and clicks, and he's in a new program. The Jordan Vazzano point is astute. My freshman year, we were up there summer training, and then at one point it became fun time at the end of training where the quarterbacks would throw a pass to each of the linemen, and okay, here's Vito Priori, nice and easy, and I got good hands. Who do I get? I get a 5-and-out from Jordan Vazzano, who put it through my hands, and it felt like I got shot. I'm like, dude, it's a 5-and-out. The head coach is making me look like a jackass that's not an athlete.
Okay.
I'm like, I got good hands.
If anyone doesn't know, Sean is an offensive lineman, so it doesn't even matter if you made that catch.
No, he was yelling. Let's see, we got some athletes out here. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying out.
They were ready to move.
It made me look bad. It made me look bad. He made me look bad. He decided to pepper it in on me on a 5-and-out.
But one thing I just want to add, though, do you remember the whole time before he took over he took over as a starting quarterback and then eventually got benched? The whole time everyone was like, man, it's going to be a big year. Jordan's going to be really good this year.
Well, he had everything.
All because he had a big arm.
He was super strong in the weight room. He was a good leader. He had a lot of quarterback qualifications. He's big legs, big arm, looks like a quarterback, talks like a quarterback, acts like a quarterback. He just didn't always play very good quarterback. It's tough. College football's tough.
Didn't click.
You better figure it out on your end, or else they're going to figure you out pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about Joe Milton. Their over/under, Sean, is set at 9.
That's crazy. It's not cupcake for Tennessee this year.
I think that 9. You know what? Give me 9 as a push. I'm setting it right at 9. I think that 9 is such a favorable number for them. I'm not going over or under. I'm going a direct push. This is one of the few times you get the round number. I'm taking a push here. They're not going to go over. They're not going to go under. This team is still good, and I trust that Josh Heupel is a really good head coach, but I think that they're still a couple steps away from being college football playoff consistent. It takes time. Look how long it took Kirby Smart to turn this team into the behemoth that it is. Before this becomes an offensive juggernaut, and then eventually Nico Iamaleava takes over in a season, it's good. You just got to be patient, Tennessee fans. I'm not crapping on you. You got to give yourself a little bit of patience here. It's not going to be immediate.
It was fun rooting for the Vols last year. I'll root for them again this year. But boy, they are in for it. I mean, there's not a gimme in the SEC except for like Mizzou, Kentucky.
Mizzou has some talent, though, dude. And so does Kentucky.
There's not, exactly. There's not many gimmies, man. Florida could get them.
South Carolina
and Texas
South
A&M
Carolina's
could.
the gimme.
Yes, Texas A&M could get them. Wait, South Carolina's the gimme?
Yeah, I think South Carolina is forever the most overrated team in college
I know,
football.
but they put up 70 on them last year. Alabama, Georgia.
But they lost a bunch of their best players. So they didn't bring anything talent. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole because there's a reason why I didn't even include them in the preview. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're very competitive. They don't scare me.
I gotcha. They scare me a little bit. They do. I think Shane Beamer gets those boys ready to play when it comes to Saturday. I think he does. Whether or not
I'm really worried about Shane Beamer getting the boys riled up. Sorry,
you should be. You should be. I'm taking the under for Tennessee. I hope they get 9 or more. But it is. Tell me they come out of South Carolina, Texas A&M, Alabama 3-week stretch with 2 wins. I don't think
it's going to be hard.
I don't think so.
It's going to be hard. And that's coming from a Tennessee fan, by the way. You're technically a Tennessee fan.
I think that is technically where I am rooting for.
I really hope Tennessee fans get upset at you despite you picking against them and also being I don't know if I can call you a true fan because you just started rooting for them because you didn't have a college football team before.
Correct.
But I guess it's the closest thing that you can be to a fan of a college football team.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to be. The Tennessee fans, if they're upset, be upset.
I do have some how do I want to phrase this? Optimism for LSU.
Oh.
I think that LSU returns a lot. And being a Notre Dame fan, it takes a lot for me to support Brian Kelly after he ditched us. But they come back with Malik Neighbors. They come back with Harold Perkins. They have one of the best transfer portal hauls in the entire country. They brought in so many good dudes from so many different rosters. But most importantly, Jaden Daniels is the perfect quarterback for what Brian Kelly has looked for in his entire time at Notre Dame. He's an athlete. He can move on the run. He can throw on the run. He can really threaten you with his legs. He is one of the best athletes at quarterback in the entire country. All of that coming back and not losing very much. They didn't lose a lot of talent to the NFL. They didn't lose a lot of talent to the transfer portal. When you bring all these guys back and you're coming off of a pretty impressive year, a year that wasn't supposed to happen, I think that LSU does legitimate damage. And I'm not saying that because I do a show with an LSU guy. They're going to do legitimate damage. Because don't smirk. Because I'm not admitting smirking. Blake is right.
Smirking.
I hate admitting that Blake is right because me and him go at each other every single show. But they are legit as they can be.
Okay, that's a nice little qualifier you snuck in there right at the end. I'm just saying you do a show with somebody for a while, and then there's some things that might get stuck in your ear, your brain. You know more about the team. You believe more in them. And I think that LSU could get 11 wins this year. I think they could. I think they could beat Florida State. I think they could beat Alabama again. And then Arkansas, I'm not very scared. Mississippi State, I'm not terribly scared for LSU facing them. I'm not. It's Brian Kelly. You know, he'll win football games for you. And if the line was 10.5, I'd take the under, but it's 9.5. So I think they have an easy enough schedule to get 10 wins. They do. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's easy enough.
But that's not even the angle I'm taking here. I absolutely think like this is a lock. They're gonna go over that 9.5 number, but it's not because the schedule's easy. It's because this is the second best roster in the SEC. This is the second best roster in the SEC. I will say this a third time. This is the second best roster in the SEC. They're going to be really good. That 9.5 number is actually crazy low. If that was
Very
like
low.
10.5, I probably wouldn't take that bet. I think they'll show them what their failure comes down to. Brian Kelly in his entire career, and I've watched enough of this, he will bring in some really good teams to the field, and they will lose some dumbass games, i.e. Texas A&M last year.
Yeah.
They do it all the time. He always plays down to bad competition. Can he get past that this upcoming season? I can't say that confidently.
They close with Texas A&M this year. Oh boy. Hopefully
they're going to be riled up for that.
They're not in the hope they're not on the fringe
like they were last year.
Oh man. Yeah, that is Brian Kelly's a weird dude, man. He knows how to put together a football team. He's recruiting in SEC country right now, which you're going to get better athletes. You have better resources. Go ahead, do your thing. Whatever you need. Hey, we're LSU. Come on in here. You win a bunch of football games. Be our new coach. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Do you want me to win a national championship? Not going to do that. So let's see. It'll be fun. LSU should be hopefully the Florida State of the SEC this year. Just fun. Just make it exciting. Get everybody juiced up a little bit. That's what I'm hoping for. Because it's going to come. The duel is going to be Kirby and Saban. That's what the duel is going to be.
I don't think that's a foregone conclusion.
That's my narrative-based duel. That's what it is.
I have more optimism for LSU than I do for Bama, dude.
I do too, but I'm talking about the duel, the big one.
Alabama, the last team that I want to highlight here, but then we'll throw in our two more teams that we just want to pick a win total for. Alabama is going to be a completely new look team. Bill O'Brien is gone. He is in New England. He's back in the NFL. They also have a new defensive coordinator with Kevin Steele. Tommy Rees, ironic that he was considered to be a terrible offensive coordinator. Now all of a sudden he's an up and comer. He's a wonderkin. He's a generational offensive coordinator now that he's being hired by Nick Saban. It's the stupidest thing ever, but as much as I hate to admit it, if somebody can get Tommy Rees to figure his crap out, it is Nick Saban. And if there is a style of offensive play calling that is going to work under Nick Saban and in the SEC, it is what Tommy Rees likes to do. He needs to not make the same dumb mistakes that he did at Notre Dame, but there is a likelihood that this team does well. What?
There's some old hurt here.
There's a little bit of old hurt here. This can be a big year for them. But it all comes down to two major things for me. Because defensive side of the football, I love what they bring to the table. I mean, there's a lot of young freshmen that are going to step in. Kool-Aid McKinstry's great. Dallas Turner is going to be a talented edge rusher. Can Tommy Rees get the run game right? And then who the hell is playing quarterback? Is it Tyler Buckner? Is it Jalen Milroe? Is it Ty Simpson?
I hope it is.
I think that Tyler Buckner is better than Jalen Milroe, and I don't think anyone wants to admit that.
Here's what I am worried about. Why is Alabama trying to copy what LSU did and just bringing Notre Dame guys in left and right? That's weird. Alabama's supposed to be the trendsetter. They see LSU. They see LSU bring in Brian Kelly, and then LSU beats Alabama. So they say, "Okay, let's get Brian Kelly Jr. and Tommy Rees." Ugh.
Honestly, he is better than Kelly Jr.
That is better than that, Alabama. You're the gold standard. You've been the gold standard for over a decade. Keep setting the trends. Stop trying to play catch up with LSU. It's embarrassing. It's beneath you to bring in Tyler Buckner and Tommy Rees. It's beneath you, Alabama. Should have brought in some NFL guy. They should have brought Jeff Fisher in instead of Tommy Rees.
What?
Just give me Jeff Fisher.
What? I'm trying to. Well, no, the one that I was banging the table for is, oh my God, I'm having the biggest brain fart in the. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is when I was banging the table for. I would have been excited about Cliff Kingsbury. Absolutely, that would have caused some serious problems in the SEC. I don't think anyone would have effectively been able to defend that scheme. But like, how hard is it to slow down a heavy inside run based scheme? Like, how hard is that to slow down? I feel like everyone runs iterations of what Tommy Rees runs.
Yeah, he'll have a better offensive line. Well, maybe not. Notre Dame's
No,
always,
I don't think
Notre
he
Dame's
absolutely
always
doesn't.
got-
Notre Dame's offensive line is really freaking good.
Well, I
dude.
caught myself.
Okay.
Jerk ass.
Over under win total set at 10.5. What do you think?
God, let's see.
Dude, that number sucks.
Dude.
That number sucks.
10.5. Alabama should be at 9.5. LSU should be at 10.5. If you really want to get people sweating it out. God, give me the over.
You're a hack. You're a hack.
I'm sorry. You want me to bet against them? I'll make me do that.
I don't want to bet against them, but here's the thing, though. 10.5 is just such a bad number.
It's
like
terrible.
There is a possibility that the wheels fall off at the end of the season and they play bad in their big games. I'm not saying they get their asses kicked, but they lose a really low scoring game because they couldn't get any offensive production, like a couple of them down the road. And that's what keeps them from getting, they win exactly 10 games. I think 10 is very attainable for them. 11 wins? No, I can't take that, dude. Are you kidding me?
It's tough. And I'm not saying it's not tough. They could easily slip early season struggles to Texas. They could go out there and say, we have not hit our stride yet and lose to Texas. That's very possible. They could lose to LSU again on November 4th. But they'll beat Tennessee this year because Tennessee doesn't have Hendon Hooker. And that'll be the reason that they can't just start dueling. I think Alabama will just be able to grind and wear them down. LSU, whole different can of worms. That'll just be fun. Early on, I mean, they're not going to get stopped by the Mississippis. I still have to take the over. I have to take the over and the confidence that Nick Saban, no matter how irritating at times he can be, is a very good football coach. I think he's a very good football coach. I think he can win the close games.
Last two really quickly. Auburn, 6.5 wins, over under.
Oh, under. They're not there. Under.
Give me the over. I think that one's a little juicy. Arkansas, 7 wins.
Oh, Arkansas just feels like a perpetual 7. Every single year, they're a perpetual 7.
Yeah. I'm taking a push on that one. That one's a push for me.
You can't just take a push.
I can take a push. Screw
no,
you
can't
if it's
take
a
push. You can
if
either
it's a
win
round number.
You can take an over or an under.
Okay, but if I think they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna win only 6 games. I don't think they win 8. So why can't I pick a push?
That's why it's fun. That's why betting's fun. We're having fun. Take the over, the under.
I'm gonna push my foot in your ass
Nice.
at Joe DeLeone,
Over
at
for
Sanderson
me.
Radio.
I'm taking the over.
At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. Hit that subscribe button. Tell us how we're the biggest idiots in college football in the comments because everybody already freaking does that. We'll be back with more. Enjoy the rest of your week.